starting to feel like myself again. It's been a while. Ha. I know you want my Cadillac Georgia. Can you handle this back in motion? Told you, baby, I got the portion. Don't be acting like you don't know. Hi guys, and welcome to episode 3 of DeraysDiaries Journey to the Top. Today we're going to be talking about the 5 mistakes I've made on this journey towards my career of being an established artist. And you know, we all make mistakes, but sometimes we don't always take time to process them, and sometimes we don't always take time to look in the mirror and actually assess where we went wrong or where we could have done better in order to move forward, you know, on this journey. And there's so many times I've said, oh, I'm done with music, I'm going to quit, I'm doing this. But each and every time I fell or I've got to a low point, I've learned something from the lesson from it. And I've learned and gained information from the fall, so that I'm able to adapt to that, and then implement that on the next, you know, leg of the journey, as it were. And obviously there's been a lot of legs of journey. It's kind of given a little insight, but it's also kind of inspirational for anybody that wants to get involved. Also today, fun fact, I draw and I paint. I never said I was good, but I draw and I paint. So I will be drawing today, so excuse me if I'm looking down and stuff like that. But it's kind of like therapy for me. It feels good, and I thought, why not just do the vlog while I'm painting and drawing today. So I don't know how much we're going to get done. I don't know what we're going to get done. I don't know what I'm putting on the page. But we'll see when it comes out. I'd say a lot of people go through this type of feeling and situation. I'd say it's a lack of representation. It's a lack of security. It's a lack of safety within the music industry, specifically for women I'm talking about. And I want to say a mistake that I made was definitely not getting representation. I should have got representation a long time ago. Whether I felt I was ready to do it or not, I was already doing up to 10 shows a month. I was already being offered paid residencies and stuff like that, and I was already doing decent venues like the O2 Islington and Scarlet King's Cross and stuff like that. Every time I got into a meeting or I went to an interview, it was always kind of weird. They would talk me up big, oh my god, you're so great, you're so this, you're so that, but then it would be all these plans, and it absolutely nothing would happen. I remember one time I met a gentleman. I met him in a really swanky hotel. I thought, oh my god, this is the big deal. DJ Khaled looking motherfucker, hell yeah, this is it.
Another one.
It was another loser. It was another disappointment. And he basically, I don't actually to this day know what he was offering me. I'm going to be so real. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't anything to do with music. I'm pretty sure it wasn't anything to do with music. But yeah, to this day I don't know what it was offering me. That's very interesting. But yeah, and then I've had other people where companies will come to me and they'll be like, oh my god, we've got great ideas and you're so amazing, and why have you not blown yet, and we want to give you this backing and blah blah blah, and all the stuff. And then a week later, 3 weeks, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a year later, still nothing. And then I contacted them are we still doing this? Or I know it's COVID, but are we still doing this? And it was oh, we've decided to take another direction with the company. So it's just I've had a bout of bad luck, and I feel it's kind of put me in a position maybe I don't deserve good representation, you know? Maybe nobody wants to manage me. I'm thinking, I've got a lot to manage, but I can't manage it, which is why nothing is happening the way I need to, because I need someone to manage it. So yeah, I think it was a case of not believing enough in myself to reach out to certain people and have an honest conversation with them about where I was at, what I was willing to do, what I was willing to invest, and the time and the plan that I had. I never once, for the last, probably up until now, have had a plan, right? I write stuff down beginning of the year. This is what I want to do, blah blah blah, and I'm okay, cool, this is what I'm going to get done, this is what I'm going to get done. And I never really had a solid plan of, you know, how to get to anywhere in the music industry. I didn't really ask any questions, didn't really have many mentors
don't get me wrong, I've been around a lot of people in the industry, like a lot of famous people in the industry, and they have all kind of served as some sort of mentor, because you have conversations, you get to know them, you get to understand the journey, you get to understand where they came from, and that in itself serves as like mentorship and helps you to like steer and navigate down certain types of roads. But if you do not have representation and you're out here in the jungle just by yourself, trust me, the predators can smell naivety a mile away. And a couple of times I did get burnt. A couple of times I went studio with certain people without it being like, what we're going to get from this, da, 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 and it just wasn't taken seriously. Then they tried to lip you and you're like, oh, I thought it was your song. It's like 6 a.m. while I'm still here. Like guys, producers offer me beats and say, but you know, the only way you're going to basically get the beat is if you offer, like, if we're going to beat, basically, like, they're the kind of offers and situations that I've been in. A lot of people that even I would consider as good friends, like, you never want to have, like, a handout, but you would have thought maybe somebody could want to collaborate to build, to kind of have that success together, so we could get rich together, so we could get big together. Not getting representation, going into spaces as an artist and trying to do all of the business I did not yet understand. So that takes me on to my next point, knowing the business. Okay, so my second mistake was not knowing the business, not treating music as a music career. Definitely a career, but I don't think I understood that career comes with business, you know, and I don't think I was putting value on myself. I don't think I valued myself. I don't think I was really feeling myself that much. So that's kind of like a side note, like make sure you're backing yourself, make sure you're digging yourself, you're feeling yourself, you're vibing with yourself, you're understanding yourself. Like that's incredibly important if you want to get anywhere in the industry. And I'm really learning now, like, dog, you better back yourself, because I was like, oh, I don't want to talk so much about myself. Like, I don't want to take up that much room, but why not? Are you not here to take up room? Is room not what you need? By the way, can we just take the nail cam? Can we do nail cam? Oh my god. Like, had to go and get the fresh ombre. I was just so done with the press-ons. Like, the press-ons were giving me stress. I was walking around looking like Shrek hands. Like, claws literally grasping on the edges of... Anyway, back to the story. These times, you know, I'm spending like decent amounts of money on videos. I'm spending like decent amounts of money on, you know, outfits and hiring models and hiring this person and that person, doing all these things, like proper trying to do everything correct. But that was just wasting money because I didn't understand the business. I didn't understand the promo, I didn't understand the marketing, I didn't understand the audience, I didn't understand the target market, like anything. I didn't understand anything. And just like anything else that you want to be successful in, just like anything else that you would apply yourself to, you need to know the ins and outs, you need to know the workings of it, you need to know the business. Like, that's just what it is. So I'm not saying I've completely wasted my time over the years, but I've wasted my time. Basically, you know, even down to using songs that I couldn't post on DSPs, digital streaming platforms, because I didn't understand about, you know, copyright and all those things and blah, 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 blah. 1 second. So... yeah, copyright and all that stuff. So yeah, and I just didn't know enough about, you know, kind of even down to working with people. Times I was doing backing vocals. Like, why am I doing backing vocals? I'm an artist. Like, if I had a manager right now, they'd be like, bro, backing vocals for who? Like, are you getting backing vocals? Because what are you doing? Like, I just really undervalued myself. And honestly, I think that showed. I do think that showed, you know, not being able to be serious enough and be, like, don't be too nice. This is another side point. This is actually not one of the points, but let me just tell you. Do not be too nice, okay? I've suffered enough from being too nice, and I'm going to tell you now. Have boundaries. Respect yourself. Know when to say no. Know when to stop. Know when to be honest and firm. I'm telling you now, I've got into situations that I will not be speaking about on this particular video, but I will let you know one day, maybe, that if I'd have just been firm in who I was and said no and been honest and had boundaries and actually valued myself, I wouldn't have got myself into a lot of situations. I wouldn't have then accumulated trauma to the point where I then began to use ego as my primary character, which then pushes people away, which then makes you feel isolated, which then makes you think the whole world hates you, which then draws in negative experiences and does all of these things, okay? So there was also a point in my life This is number 3. Take accountability. Okay, I had to take accountability for how I've been doing things. I had to take accountability for how I've been living. I had to take accountability for the way I had been speaking to people, how I'd been operating, my integrity, all of these things. This picture now get drawn down. I'm just too into the story. Just like, I've drawn a heart. That's where we're at. So yeah, I feel like, you know, we are responsible for a lot more than we realize in our lives. In fact, everything, okay? And I just felt like everybody hated me, like I was all these things, and no one thought I was good enough. No one wanted to give me a chance. That was never it. I was not giving myself a solid chance. I was not, you know, being the best that I could be. I was not talking myself up. I was not taking up space in rooms. I was not putting myself forward. I was not pushing myself. I was the only person promoting my music, and I got that out to a couple hundred people and then stopped. It's like every time I would get somewhere, I would give up or I'd stop. It's not moving too far enough. The numbers are not big enough, blah, blah, blah. And I never gave myself an honest chance. I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, but not stopping to smell the roses at any point. Do you know how much stuff I've done in my life? Like, I have done so much stuff. I was literally scrolling through my iPad earlier on my iCloud, and all the stuff that I've been doing since, like, even just 2013. And my life has been a freaking whirlwind. Like, I've been TV, film, dance, singing, acting, like, theatre, like, everything. Bumba Clark, Harry Potter Studios, like, that was just a side note because I love Harry Potter. I think I told you before. Anyway, moving on. You know, I've done so much in my life. Why did I bring up Harry Potter Studios? That's so funny. I just visited. I love Harry Potter. Anyway, I've done so much in my life, and I feel like if I'd have stopped sometimes to acknowledge it and take it in and take a breath and reflect and give myself credit and all these things, it would have built my confidence more. It would have made me feel like I was actually doing what I was doing. I was doing great. I've been on radio, you know, I've on multiple radio stations in multiple countries around the world, which is freaking phenomenal. For me, somebody that doesn't feel like really I'm pushing, you know, at the time pushing like I should be. I've done like 5 to 6 music videos that I've directed myself, that I've arranged, casted, like all these things, you know. I think I said this before in the last video. Still, I didn't feel good enough. Still, I didn't feel noticed. Still, I didn't feel seen. And it's because I wasn't feeling seen by myself, you know. I wasn't feeling good enough. I was bogged down in trauma and all this shit. So I had to get rid of all of that, basically, which is what the healing process of the last, I'd say maybe 6 years has been for me. While I've been bringing other people up as well, because I told you guys before that I'm a psychic and I help people and heal people. I can cleanse chakras. We'll talk about that in another video. But at the time, I did not have that level of spirituality. I did not have that level of consciousness. Did not have that level of present momentness, if that's even a word. I threw away a lot of opportunities to get ahead with my attitude, with how I was viewing things, with my thoughts, my negativity, even though thinking I'm not being negative, thinking everyone else is being negative, you know, part of like an ego trip, that kind of thing. So I would definitely say that number 3, accountability, has definitely been, you know, one of the biggest catapults into a change in mindset, a change in brand, a change in feel, a change in confidence, change in energy, change in direction. Look at me, Mrs. Jester with the hands now. Just, can you see your hands, darling? Like, you just sit there now. 4 is not taking things personal. Now, this is again a little bit to do with like on the accountability side, but not quite. So not taking things personal. Sometimes shit is gonna happen, right? Sometimes people are gonna say stuff, they're gonna do stuff, they're gonna be who they're gonna be. People are gonna be people. You don't always have to take that shit on board. You don't always have to take on other people's moods, emotions, feelings, projections, all of that stuff. And I feel like in life, we tend to take on too much, right? And we tend to think that every time somebody's acting a certain way, it's because of us. Every time somebody's saying certain things, it's because of us. And 9 times out of 10, they're saying things because of them. 9 times out of 10, their feelings and views and opinions of themselves are coming out onto you. But if you start to take that personal, you will start to build a negative and false image of yourself, which essentially is what I did. So I feel like when it came to people saying, oh my God, your music's good, your music's great, you're brilliant, I wasn't hearing that. I wasn't hearing the people who were like, meh, it's cool, it's a vibe. That used to be my worst. Like, people say that about my music all the time, and I just want to like, what do you mean it's a vibe? Like, of course it's a vibe. I'm a vibe, but say something else. Do you know what I mean? Like, say something else about the music. And then there'd be people that were in the industry, it's like, you're cold, you're dope, you're this, you're that. But it seemed like every time they thought they were getting somewhere with you, sexually, then everything was all gravy. You was Beyonce, you know. There was no one else in the world. There wasn't even Kelly or Michelle. Like, you were Beyonce. And the minute it's like, hey, it's not really that, like, stay in your lane, boundaries, it's all of a sudden like, oh, where you sing, you're Kelly Osbourne, like, you can't even sing, like, a lot of the time. So I feel like even when certain people tried to get close to me, and I didn't have it or want it to go that way, a lot of opportunities went, you know, in an opposite direction. But I took that personal. I took that as I wasn't good enough. I took that as I was shit. I took that as I shouldn't do music, blah, blah, blah. Every single time I stopped and tried to not do music, I would end up doing music. Somebody would call me, oh, can you come studio? Oh, do you want to jump on the track? Oh, we'd love to meet you. Oh, can we interview? Oh, can you come and do this? Oh, can you come do that? Every single time I would stop doing music. So it was kind of like, okay, cool, I'm meant to do this. Even though a lot of people around me, some saw me as like an influencer, content creator, some saw me as a dancer, some saw me as this, some saw me as that. I ultimately was like, I am an artist. And when I first, you know, discovered being an artist, it was actually when I was hanging out with Lady Leshurr. And I remember being at a crib and we'd just been like rapping and just like bullshitting and all this stuff. And I remember her saying like, I can't freestyle. And I remember like, I was like, okay, well, I can freestyle because I've been freestyling since I was young. But let me teach you, kind of thing. And I remember we did like a back and forth for hours and hours and hours in the kitchen. Anyway, after that, it kind of triggered something in me. And I was like, I do music. Like, I've always done music. I've always rapped, I've always sing, I've always danced. Why am I not doing music? And I felt like even when I kind of expressed that to her, I feel like she wasn't really, she'd be like, oh, you're going to do music now. Like, probably thinking like, what a fan. Like, oh, now you want to do music. Like, I would kind of feel like that too. Because I was a dancer and I was doing dances and stuff on her tours, and we've been to like Wales and we've done like all these little things and like all these little shows and stuff, and I've been dancing for her. So effectively I was the dancer. She's like, want to do music? But I was like, yeah, because music's what I've always done, but because people said what they said, I stopped doing what I was doing. It then became, you know, like, this is it, this is what I'm doing. And from then on, I did music. Even in Birmingham, people don't really know that I sing. A lot of people still think I'm a dancer. It's like, I'm an artist. But because I wasn't backing myself, I wasn't taking up space, I wasn't pushing myself out there, I was taking things personal. I wasn't letting myself be seen and was blaming everybody else for not being seen, when I wouldn't even introduce myself. No, I'm being honest. Like, most of the time I did put myself forward. I didn't introduce myself. I did do a lot of shows, but I just wasn't confident. I wasn't confident in my source. I felt like nobody else gave a fuck, blah, blah, blah. We've been... Don't take things personal. Don't let people's opinions hold you back. And don't let other people's trajectories and projections and expectations and all that just turn you into like something that's just not necessary to hold you back in your life. Like, you just have number five is paying attention to your image. Now, that is rich coming from somebody that posts videos with her hair like a natty dread central, and sometimes not even with makeup, most of the time not with makeup on. I don't really have that much on right now. Like, you know, most of the time I'll make just natural, blah, 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 because it's what I like. I just prefer to be more natural. However, I do think in certain situations it has hindered me. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, I have looked back on my videos and my performances, and bar one or two, the wardrobe is so painful. Painful is the only word I can use. It's like, dog, did you not have a mirror? Did you not have access to reflective windows? Like, what is going on? Why was you wearing that? So a lot of times I think I look back, I wasn't even carrying myself in the way that I should have been as an artist, like the way I should be showing up, the vibe, the energy. Like I was so kind of naive and like in my own world, like, yeah, I'm a singer, yeah, I'm doing this, but I wasn't being an artist. I wasn't acting like an artist. I was just making music and putting it out and hoping that shit would stick, like for real. Oh, you like it, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? And like already off the bat, people was comparing me to people and doing all these things, so like I must have been decent for someone to even talk about me at that time, but I just didn't feel that way. I just didn't have that, so I didn't dress that way, you know. I mean, back then I was making some decent money, so like I had designer and I had like all this stuff, but girl, you did not know how to put that shit together. Like I didn't know how to put it together. I didn't know how to put it together. I didn't know how to put it together. Oh my god, I can't say I didn't know how to put it together. Try and say that all together. I didn't know how to put it together. I didn't know how to put it together. It sounds like I'm saying a completely different language. Like, image was a huge thing, and I feel like a lot of people around me at the time that was doing music that have like done really well now, they had that image, they had that view, but a lot of that had to do with not investing in the right things, spending my money in the wrong places. Having the people around you like that are not for the same thing that you're doing is not a good idea. Let me just tell you that having people around you that don't serve the same purpose and cause that you do is not a good thing. So I had a lot of those around me, people that were not on what I was on, people that were not going where I was going, not on the goals I was on, blah, 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 blah. And therefore dressed on a normal image occasion. So me then putting on a sparkly dress and a tiara was not really going to fit into the room. Lay down with dogs, you catch fleas. Like the people you're around, you start to emulate. And I think that while on this side, I was around a lot of celebrities and in the celebrity world and trying to glow up, doing those things, I was still around very, very normal people on a day-to-day. So it wasn't like, oh, let's try these new outfits. It was like cardigans and polo necks and shit. So I would definitely say for people that are trying to push an industry now, having an image, having a style is definitely, I definitely have this kind of natural goddess glamour type of style. Like I still have my little nuances, but I'm quite natural and I'm quite stripped back. But if I want to go all out glam, I do sometimes, and I can. And I will, especially in terms of image and when I'm presenting, or if I'm online, or if I'm on a show, I will be showing up in a certain light and a certain image. Could go to the library, but when you just decide to be an artist one day, how many of you read books about being an artist? I mean, I have now, but how many of you read books about being an artist? Like, it's not really something you do. Sometimes you can fluke it and it'll be great, and sometimes you need to learn a little bit more, because sometimes you've got such a big engine that you don't know how to use, you don't know how to drive, you don't know how to put to the test, you don't even know how to max it out, you don't even know how fast it goes. You've got to trial and error a lot of different things, and I think that that's the stage that I was kind of at. But when you come from a situation where you've got lack of support, lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem, lack of stability, lack of direction, lack of guidance, all of the odds were against me, okay? But now I see things clearer. So now I can tell you a mistake that I made along this journey. And by the way, I'm still on my journey, which is why I'm making these vlogs, because I want you guys to come on the journey with me, and I want you guys to see into it. So there will be a few vlogs where it's just like me doing certain things. Like I will be making a vlog of like last couple of weeks where I've been doing like photo shoots and filming videos and doing all this stuff. Like I just put a little thing together so you guys can see what I've been up to. But I want you guys to like come on the journey with me, and really see what goes into this stuff and behind the scene. Points would be: number one, make sure you get representation. Number two, make sure you treat your career as a business move. Treat everything as transactional and a business decision. Did I say number three or number two? Number one, not getting representation. Make sure that you get representation and you have somebody that can stand in your corner on business deals and on transactional deals when it comes to beats, when it comes to royalties, when it comes to splits, etc, etc. Number two, make sure that you treat your career as a business, and make sure that you have all the parts and components running in it to make it effective, and make sure that you understand the workings behind it so that you can make a plan on how to be successful. Number three, taking accountability. Okay, make sure you take accountability for where you've made mistakes, where you could improve. Make sure you reflect regularly on your process, on your attitude, and on where you could be making better steps to move forward. Number four, not taking things personal. Remember that people all have their own things going on, and sometimes people's opinion is not a reflection of truth, and sometimes you just need to believe in your source enough that other people's opinions, conversation, statements don't matter to you, okay? Having a clear image. Make sure you have a clear image, and make sure that you always show up as your best self and the best version of self, because you never know what opportunities are knocking at your door. So that was the 5 mistakes that I've made in the music industry thus far. I hope it was helpful to you, yet entertaining. I hope to hear my struggles and my pain, because you guys are mean and you just want to hear my struggles and my pain. I didn't get anywhere with the drawing. I don't even want to show you. Yeah, can you see that? Yeah, not sure what that is. It's not looking good. Got into the story a little bit too much. But please like, share and subscribe. Please press the notification bell so you can stay tuned with all of my videos. I did just drop Different, so please go and check it out. My new music video recorded with my boy Free Soul, so go and check that out now. Drop a little like, little comment, that'll really help the algorithm. Please share with friends, and all of that good stuff. But thank you so much for coming again and tuning into DeraysDiaries Journey to the Top. I hope you've been enjoying the series thus far. We've got loads more to come, so please do subscribe and stay tuned. I just broke the pencil. Why am I always breaking something at the end of the video? What's that about? Ugh. Please like, share, and subscribe. I love you. I'll see you soon. D-word, D-Ray, slay all day. Oh, I've just changed the whole track. Anyway, love you. Okay. You know, I'm starting to feel like myself again. It's been a while. Ha.